When we think of history, we think of wars, monarchs, ancient civilizations, and their downfall. But history can also be found in more ordinary things in life, from the food we eat to the pets we own, even the sports teams we so ardently love watching. Each sports club and their own identity, stadium and fans are all united under a distinct palette of colours. But why do certain clubs wear blue, while others bear bold red, white, or even yellow? Join us as we explore the biggest league of the biggest sport on earth, finding out how each and every current Premier League team got their iconic kit colours. Arsenal have worn their iconic red and white since their inception, thanks to co-founder Fred Beardsley, who hailed from Nottingham. Beardsley decided to adopt Garibaldi red shirts and white shorts, identical to that of Nottingham Forest Football Club, where he played as an amateur. The next kit change came in 1933, coming from an interaction between then-manager Herbert Chapman and renowned cartoonist Tom Webster, who recounted the time he wore a blue vest over a white shirt while playing golf. Chapman, intrigued by the idea, asked Webster to design a red version of the combination, and thus, the famous white sleeves were born. But you may remember the brief change to a darker shade of red in the 05-06 season, to honour Arsenal's last year of playing at Highbury Stadium. Although this was meant to pay homage to the historical kits of the Gunners, it turns out that Arsenal have never worn dark red. The misunderstanding was instead attributed to poorly colorized photos of the club's past. Birmingham club Aston Villa were closely knit with the city's Scottish diaspora. Their identity is thus inspired by Scotland, with the kit's scarlet red and blue being derived from the great Scottish clubs of Hearts of Midlothian and Glasgow Rangers respectively. After experimenting with white and blue, black, and even green, they settled on a slight variation of their initial scarlet and blue, which ended up as claret and light blue highlights. Apart from a few games in the 1900s where they wore red to absorb less heat in the summer months, this claret and blue combination has arguably allowed the Villains to become one of the most distinct teams in world football, helping inspire kit colours for a multitude of teams in England. Brentford actually started off in claret and blue, but not from Aston Villa. Instead, it resembled the colours of Brentford Rowing Club, who helped create the team. They soon swapped to a shirt of gold and royal blue stripes, the colours of their patron, Lord Rothschild. It was then that the iconic stripes became a commonality. At the beginning of the 1925-26 season, the red and white kit was introduced. Although there was no recorded cause behind the change, the red and white colours matched that of the coat of arms of Middlesex County, which was also the crest of the Bees at the time. As to why they kept the colours, well, a rise in form followed the kit change as they won the 3rd and 2nd division titles within the next decade. The stripes have remained till now, as the Bees have made their long-awaited return to the Premier League last year. Brighton first wore Fisherman's Blue, a pale shade in 1901 after previously wearing green and black-white stripes. There isn't much online about why blue was specifically chosen. One could argue that it reflected Brighton's status as a Londoner's ideal seaside retreat, but the change could also have been inspired by the name change from Brighton and Hove Rangers to Albion in preparation to enter the 2nd division the same year. This may have been named after West Bromwich Albion, who co-founder John Jackson was formerly associated with. So, the blue and white colours of the West Midlands club may have similarly been adopted, albeit pale and not navy blue. Stripes were added 3 seasons later, and pale blue lasted until just after World War II, where strict clothing rations meant that only royal blue stripes were available. The darker shade thus makes up the recognisable Brighton strip we know and love today. Burnley didn't always don claret and blue. In fact, they wore 10 different kit colours in the first 3 decades of their existence, ranging from white in 1886 to commemorate the Prince of Wales's visit to their home turf, Turf Moor, to black as a tribute for a deceased player in 1889. Despite settling on a green and white shirt combination in the early 1900s, on-pitch success was hard to come by, as the Lancashire outfit languished in Division 2. Claiming that the shirts were unlucky, Burnley adopted claret and blue in 1910 in the hopes of channeling the success of Aston Villa, who wore the same colours. It seemed to do the trick, leading to FA Cup glory in 1914. The only change arose in 1935 when a switch to white tops and black shorts following the relegation to Division 2 didn't turn around their fortunes, subsequently leading to a shift back to their traditional claret and blue. Chelsea have worn blue and white for the entirety of their existence, but started off wearing Eton blue, a pale shade, as it was associated with their then president, the Earl of Cadogan. By 1910, the shade of blue had become royal blue. This combination remained until 1964, where new manager Tommy Doherty lobbied for a change from white to blue shorts, a move that would pioneer a modern-style outfit in English football, and one that would remain to this very day. But yellow has also been frequently used in Chelsea's kit as highlights. First used in socks in the 1970s, it was derived from the club's crest colours, which was in turn a variation of the arms of the Earl of Cadogan. Crystal Palace not only have one of the most distinctly coloured kits in the league, but they've also had some of the more bizarre changes. The Southern London club was founded in 1905 with help from board member Edmund Goodman, who previously worked for Aston Villa. This association may have led to the adoption of a similar claret and blue scheme, but the claret was replaced by cardinal red in a bid to make the club more unique. These colours were sporadically replaced by white tops and black shorts in times of adversity during the late 30s and 50s, as the club plummeted to the 3rd and even the 4th divisions. In fact, an all-white kit was introduced to honour Real Madrid after a friendly match against the Spanish Giants in 1962. The red and blue colours were only introduced 11 years later as ambitious manager Malcolm Allison rebranded the club, changing the nickname to the Eagles and kit colours to match that of Barcelona FC, of all clubs. That means that Palace had taken inspiration from both El Clasico clubs in a span of just a dozen years. Quite insane to say the least. Today, the initial red-dominated stripes have now gradually transitioned into the blue-dominated, with intermittent white home kits also being worn in the 70s and in the 08-09 season. And that concludes part 1 of how every Premier League team ended up wearing their kit colours. Thanks for watching, and join us for part 2 as we move on to look at the kit history of some of the finest teams to have ever graced the English game.